In this Atmic Heart boss guide, I'll show you how to kill the giant green rolling robot really easily on any difficulty. Sponsored by Focus Entertainment. Firstly, before you actually fight this boss, you're going to want to upgrade your character with 2 skills on the skill tree. Firstly, you want the second wind ability, which gives you a second dodge charge, which you can see there on the bottom left. This means that you can dodge twice or even twice in quick succession, and it makes dodging any attacks much easier. Secondly, you should get the Sleazeball skill ability. This makes you immune to all damage while you're dodging. It basically gives you iframes like in Elden Ring or Dark Souls. Whenever you're mid-dodge, you cannot be hit by anything. These 2 skills are going to be imperative for easily taking down this boss. Don't forget that you can also return items on the bottom right here to refund your neuropolymer, so you can spend it on different abilities. Now when you actually start the fight, you'll be using the shock attack on this green pole to make the robot flower come out of the ground. Now the boss always enters the arena from where it comes in. So if you stand behind the flower, the boss will bounce, which you need to jump over, and then it will roll towards you and into the robot flower if you're standing behind it. So make sure you prepare a power attack as this happens. This will send the boss down and you'll be able to get a free power attack on its cooling cores. This is the best method for defeating the boss. After this, the robot will proceed to go on a rampage, and you'll need to survive its various phases and continuous attacks until the robot either stops to cool down and exposes its heating cores, or until the green pillars appear again and you could summon another robot flower to make the boss crash again. So now I'm going to show you how to survive each one of the robot boss's different attacks. Firstly, we have its ground pounds. When it leaps up into the air and lands again, it releases a red ring that you need to jump over. These can sometimes be quite hard to see if you're not looking at the robot, considering it jumps over your head and disappears in the sky repeatedly. But there's also an audible sound that you can listen out for when it hits the ground and produces one of these red rings. So if you get used to timing it right, it can get much easier for you to jump over. It's also possible to jump and dodge at the same time to maintain air for longer, or even dodge through the rings if you're using iframes. Now the second attack is when it starts spinning and pulling you towards it. You cannot actually run backwards from this attack, you're too slow and it will just drag you in. As you can see in this example, if I'm running forward, I run a lot faster in comparison to when I'm trying to run backwards, just like in real life. It's almost half the speed, as you can see. So whenever the robot is doing this attack, you're going to want to turn around away from the robot and run away to stop getting sucked in. But the boss will also try to ground pound you, and you'll need to listen out for the sound cue of when it does, so you can quickly turn around and then jump dodge to leap over the red rings. It will do this repeatedly, so there'll be a lot of turning around and dodging to get through this phase of the boss's attack. Now the third type of attack the boss will do is when it goes into the ball mode and starts circling the arena while firing fireballs at you. These hit pretty hard, so I suggest you dodge in one direction in order to avoid them. And then once the boss fires, quickly change direction to the opposite way. This will usually result in it missing all of those shots. Alternatively, if you mess up, you can also dodge through them and take no damage with your immunity frames. You can also use the polymer shield ability as well, but I really don't think it's as good. Now the fourth type of attack is where the robot will start spinning and rushing towards you. These attacks can be dodged pretty easily as long as you dodge at the last moment, but it's also the best time for you to look around the arena for the green pillars, which are spread over the entire arena. You can simply walk up to them and shock them to activate them, and then simply stand behind the flower robot that comes up from the ground to make the boss crash. After, you can once again power attack the heating cores to do extreme damage to the boss. Please do drop a like on the video if you're finding it helpful so far, but you'll essentially just be repeating this whole process until the boss is dead. However, the boss does sometimes, if you're pretty close to it, engage you in melee combat. These attacks have quite a long wind up, so you're going to want to wait until he actually does attack you before dodging. He also has an attack where he'll just hit the ground in front of him and you'll need to jump over it instead of dodging. And then after that attack, he'll do the same animation but instead rush into you, and sometimes that can catch you off guard if you're not ready for that combination. But the fastest way to kill the robot is to essentially keep an eye out for the green pillars coming out of the ground, and as soon as they're up, run over to them, trigger them with the shock attack to make the boss crash. But make sure that you charge up your power attack because it does more damage than if you were to normally attack it each time, which would make the boss fight take even longer. But as a cool Easter egg, which you've probably already noticed if you're watching this guide video, you'll notice that each time you die, the death animation actually changes depending on which attack the boss killed you with. Each time you'll see a different cartoon ability animation that killed you. Now if you have any more questions on how to defeat this roly-poly robot machine, and don't forget to upgrade your melee weapon so you can charge it up faster and also do more damage with each hit.